just over a year ago, we were able to successfully save this place and drive out the Guardian Empire. But knowing that there is going to be some very legitimate concerns in regards to what they're planning next, we have to be ready for anything. And so we know that there is something that is going to be particularly dangerous, especially as the arrival of the new patch is now just over a week away. So with that in mind, greetings people of the world, Matthew back with you here in Navora Autism for another edition of the Tales of Eorzea vlog here on Final Fantasy XIV's Exodus server. So, over the course of the week, the new trailer for Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood patch 4.4 was officially released, and we certainly have a lot to look forward to indeed. Most notably, if you remember from the end of the previous patch, we saw that there is someone that we believe to be an Ascian who is inhabiting Xenos' body. Xenos, of course, being the final boss of the initial main story of Stormblood, who it took us 3 rounds to actually beat the guy, and then we beat him as Shinryu as well. And then we saw him take his own life, but then, somehow, he is alive. And there have been a whole bunch of explanations and talks I've been hearing online about how he was brought to life, back to life again. Is it really his body? Is it an illusion? Is it being possessed by an Ascian, as it's being suggested at the end of patch 4.3? Because that is the primary theory that is now being surmised by people, because the way that they set that up by Corinne being shown the echo and seeing that Asahi was taking his orders from someone who looked like Xenos and looked just like him was definitely something that had everyone in the story thinking, is Xenos alive because he's being possessed by an Ascian? That we do not know. That is definitely the thing that is being considered as the most possible theory to be happening here, and so as a result, we know that there is the distinct possibility that we may have to deal with him again, or do so in 4.5, in the final main story of Stormblood. So that's something else we're gonna have to be ready for when the time comes. And then knowing that as well, we have the final 4 levels of Omega are also going to be a part of the new patch. That's also something that's going to be something we look forward to, and I think this has definitely been, as far as, I'll say this much, as far as battle mechanics are concerned, as far as working as a team is concerned, I would say that the Omega levels have been far easier than the Alexander levels and the Binding Coil of Bahamut. I say this because anyone who ever had to do Binding Coil of Bahamut in its original form knows how insanely hard that was. The mechanics were really overwhelming, especially for casuals. Like, there used to be times when you had raiders who would commit themselves to only doing the Binding Coil of Bahamut, and they would just keep doing it over and over again. And it was just mind-blowing to see how much time and effort people were putting into this. Like, you would, if you were a casual and you were in a free company with a bunch of raiders, you knew how difficult it was to try and get anyone to come and help you out with doing a roulette or doing a dungeon, because you knew that all their focus, all their laser-like focus was on Bahamut. That's all they did, that's all they ever wanted to do. And so, because of that, there was really a divide as a result. At least I found. It was one of the few drawbacks I found in Final Fantasy XIV, is that there was 2 clearly distinctive groups playing the game. There are the people like myself, the casuals, who were just enjoying the game for what it was, going through the adventure, meeting the Signs of the Seventh Dawn, defeating the Guardian Empire, defeating the Ultimate Weapon, and then you had all the hardcore raiders who did Binding Coil of Bahamut and only that and nothing else. It was really one of the sad parts of the game, and so it was really wonderful when they started to make things easier for Alexander as well as for Omega to really offer a greater sense of accessibility to people to be able to take on those challenges, to make it feel like, oh, yeah, doing that stuff where there's 8 people that you have to work with and you have to do a bunch of these levels? No way, that's not for me. But thankfully, thanks to Alexander, thanks to Omega, it's made those challenges far more accessible to everyone. And it's definitely been something that I know I appreciate, having been able to get to experience and to successfully clear Alexander, and knowing that Omega is also going to be something that I can say that I've cleared successfully without having to put a crap ton of time into it and a huge time sink. But yeah, it's definitely something that I know will get a lot of attention because we're all interested in what has Omega got in store for us for the final 4 levels. Because we know what's going to happen because Omega wants to test us. He wants to see how well we do against these various formidable foes. And especially with the Final Fantasy VI enemies that we had to confront in the second series of Omega quests, was definitely an appreciative callback. Definitely enjoyed those. Definitely enjoyed X-Death as the final boss in the first round of Omega. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what they're going to do with that. But yeah, we have a lot to look forward to, so those are the things that I'm looking forward to the most. And we'll find out in just over a week time what is going to happen with that story and what is it going to give us for the lead-in to patch 4.5. Will it serve as essentially a definitive end to the Stormblood story and allow 4.5 to be a lead-in to the next expansion, similar to what Heavensward did with patch 3.3, that it was its definitive end and everything else led into the expansion of Stormblood? Or are they just going to continue to keep the story going right up until the next expansion, and that we only get our definitive end once we can beat Xenos once and for all? And what'll happen in patch 4.5? We don't know yet, but I would say that this is definitely one of the most anticipated patches that has been introduced into Final Fantasy XIV, and so just on the story alone, so we have to be ready, because I know I have Corinne as prepared as she can possibly be, but now it's up to all of us to see this through and get the job done. Because, yeah, the sun may be setting here on the area where Alamigo is, but we don't want the sun to set on the adventure that she is currently taking. So, that is going to do it for this edition of the Tales of Eorzea vlog. As always, if you have a character here on Exodus or looking to create one in Exodus, and you're interested in joining our free company, we'd be happy to have you with us. So thank you very much everyone for watching, and until next time everyone, this is Matthew with Novora Autism, saying take care, and I'll see you soon.